The game takes place several decades in the future. A third world war was waged. This war was fought over religion, a holy war of sorts, with one side fighting to retain the right to religious freedoms and the other to abolish and outlaw religion altogether. This concept was ignited because of religious radicalism and violence spreading throughout the earth. Though the majority of the radicalism and violence was perpetuated by one religious group in particular, when the subject of banning that particular religion was brought before the court of world leaders, the question of justice and fairness was raised. All religions have the propensity to radicalize their practitioners, and so all religions should be banned and outlawed. The decision was not unanimous. However, the majority ruled that religion would be outlawed. When the decision was announced to the public, there was great pushback. In lands where the government was in favor of the ban, religious groups peacefully protested. In lands where the government was not in favor of the ban, anti-religion groups peacefully protested. Before long, these protests ceased to be peaceful, either due to law enforcement heavy-handedness or protester fervor. Full-scale civil wars ensued. Within months, alliances were formed across borders and oceans, and a third world war began with the lighting of a Molotov cocktail. Fervor overruled logic and compassion. When asked at gunpoint which side a person supported, there were only two acceptable answers, and one of those would inevitably result in being shot, as would any other answer. Neutrality was not an option. After 3 years of intense and bloody warfare, one side seemed to be prevailing. However, the launching of nuclear weapons soon changed that. Entire countries were incinerated, countless lives erased. Finally, those who remained of the religious orders surrendered and vowed to never practice their respective faith again. The war was won. Religion was outlawed. A new chapter in humanity was started, with all previous chapters being forsaken, erased, burned. 2 decades of peace ensued as the survivors rebuilt and reshaped the world. New laws were written, new borders drawn, new cultures forged, new history recorded. Humanity's future seemed bright. However, corruption inevitably crept in, and unrest began to be detected amongst the civilian populations. The game is set in a particular region of the world where such unrest has taken root, and in response, the government has turned totalitarian, legislating laws restricting speech and protest, even going to the extent of installing video and audio recording devices in every public place and in every room of every private residence. Of course, the government's official narrative is that these measures are for the benefit and protection of the people. However, revolution and defiance against totalitarianism is inevitable, and this is where the player finds themselves in the game. There is a twist, though. Despite all of these things having taken place and the situation that the player finds themselves in, the game is not about fighting against the tyrannical regime. It is not about being part of the rebellion and strengthening the militia. The player will not complete the game by defeating the enemy forces. The game has a different path, a different theme, and a different objective, and these will be revealed in my own good time.